If you grew up feeling lonely as a child, you might carry memories that still feel heavy. Perhaps you spent recesses alone, came home to an empty house, or felt invisible even when surrounded by family. Society often treats childhood loneliness as something broken, something that damaged you. But what if I told you that the solitude you experienced wasn't just taking something away from you? What if it was quietly building strengths within you that most people never develop? Today, we're exploring the hidden effects of childhood loneliness. And I think you'll be surprised to discover that what you once saw as your greatest vulnerability may actually be one of your most profound gifts. Let's talk about four psychological strengths that emerge from childhood loneliness. Strengths that make you uniquely capable in ways others might never understand. The first strength is profound self reliance and inner resourcefulness. When you grow up lonely, you learn early that you are your own best companion. Research in developmental psychology shows that children who spend significant time alone develop what psychologists call internal locus of control, a deep seated belief that they can handle life's challenges independently. You didn't have a crowd to turn to when you were bored, scared, or uncertain. So you learned to create your own solutions. You built entire worlds in your imagination. You taught yourself how to be okay with your own company. This isn't just about being independent, it's about having developed an unshakable core, a kind of inner home you can always return to. As an adult, this means you don't fall apart when external support disappears. When a relationship ends, when friends drift away, when life isolates you again, you have tools that others lack. You know how to sit with yourself. You know how to self soothe, to problem solve, to find meaning even in silence. While others panic at the thought of being alone, you understand that solitude isn't the same as loneliness. You've transformed what was once painful isolation into a superpower of self sufficiency. You carry your own light. The second strength is heightened emotional intelligence and empathy. This might seem counterintuitive. How does being alone make you better at understanding others? Psychology shows that lonely children become exceptional observers. When you're on the outside looking in, you study people differently. You notice the subtle shift in someone's voice when they're pretending to be fine. You catch the flicker of sadness behind a smile. You understand what it feels like to be unseen, so you've developed an almost uncanny ability to see others. Studies on social observation reveal that individuals who experienced childhood loneliness often score higher on tests measuring empathy and emotional perception. You learned to read rooms, to sense tension, to understand unspoken dynamics because your survival depended on it. You had to understand the emotional landscape around you even when you weren't directly part of it. As an adult, this translates into deep, meaningful connections. When you do let people in, you don't just hear their words, you hear what they're not saying. You ask the questions no one else thinks to ask. You make people feel genuinely seen in a world where most of us are starving for that recognition. Your friends come to you because you hold space for their pain without judgment. Your loneliness taught you the language of the heart, and that's a language too few people speak fluently. The third strength is exceptional creativity and depth of thought. Loneliness creates space, and in that space, imagination flourishes. Research indicates that many of history's greatest artists, writers, and thinkers credit childhood solitude as the birthplace of their creativity. When you're alone, you're forced to go inward. You daydream, you create stories, you ask big questions about existence, meaning, and purpose, questions that other children might never pause long enough to consider. You didn't just pass time, you filled it with the contents of your own mind. This cultivated something remarkable, a rich inner life. As an adult, you're comfortable with complexity and nuance. You're not afraid of silence or stillness because that's where your best ideas emerge. You might be the person who sees solutions others miss, who connects dots in unexpected ways, who brings originality to your work or passions. Your childhood loneliness was like an intensive training program for your imagination. While others were learning to conform to group thinking, you were developing your own unique perspective, your own voice. That voice, born in solitude, has something different to say, and the world needs voices that aren't just echoes of everyone else's. The fourth strength is authentic connection and meaningful relationship building. Here's something beautiful. Because you know what it's like to feel truly alone, you don't waste time on shallow connections. Psychology shows that individuals who experienced childhood loneliness often develop what researchers call quality over quantity social preferences. You're not interested in collecting hundreds of acquaintances or performing friendship for social approval. You've already lived the alternative, and you know that being surrounded by people who don't really know you feels worse than being alone. So you're selective, you're intentional. When you choose to let someone into your life, it means something. You build friendships and relationships based on depth, trust, and genuine understanding. You're okay walking away from relationships that don't honor who you are because you've already survived worse than being alone. You've been there and you know you'll be okay. This makes you incredibly free. You don't cling out of fear. You don't stay in situations that diminish you just to avoid loneliness. And paradoxically, this authenticity attracts the right people. The ones who stay are the ones who truly see you, and that creates connections of rare depth and loyalty. Your childhood taught you that real connection is worth waiting for, and you've built a life that reflects that truth. Now, I want to acknowledge something important. Recognizing these strengths doesn't erase the pain of what you experienced. Childhood loneliness is real, and it hurt. You deserved to feel seen, connected, and loved, and I'm not suggesting otherwise. But you've carried something forward from those difficult years that's genuinely valuable. You've turned your pain into perception, your isolation into independence, your silence into substance. That takes incredible resilience. even if you didn't realize you were building it at the time. If you recognize yourself in these strengths, I want you to know that you're not broken because you spent time alone as a child. You're not less than because you didn't have the connections others did. You developed differently, and different isn't deficient. You have capacities that others have to work years to develop, if they develop them at all. Your loneliness shaped you, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is what you've built from it, the person you've become, the unique way you move through the world. So, here's what I want you to take with you today. Your childhood loneliness was not wasted time. It was preparation. It was the kiln that forged something strong and beautiful within you. And the strengths you carry now, your self-reliance, your empathy, your creativity, your authenticity, these aren't despite your loneliness. They exist because of it. You took something painful and transformed it into something powerful. And that's not just survival, that's alchemy. If this resonated with you, if you saw yourself in these words, please subscribe to this channel. We create content that helps you understand the hidden strengths in your personality, the ways your experiences have shaped you into someone remarkable. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future insights about the psychology of who you are. And if you'd like, share this video with someone who might need to hear that their childhood loneliness wasn't the end of their story. It was the beginning of their strength. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for continuing to grow into the incredible person you're becoming. I'll see you in the next video.